I just got done filming some shorts and caught up on all the books I've been reading. I'm going to start part 4 of 25 in 2025, and we're going to start with Do Your Worst. Let's find out what it's about. Rose finally has a chance to turn her family's. This is actually a fiction and not a romance, which I originally thought it was, just as a side note. But Riley Rhodes finally has a chance to turn her family's knack for supernatural into a legitimate business when she's hired to break a curse of an infamous Scottish castle. Sold. Magic. Done. There is a handsome stranger that's going to come in and try and get her fired, so I'm wondering if there could be some romance to this. Sparks fly when a cold expert and a disgraced archaeologist become enemies with benefits in the steamy romance. So this is romance. Okay, for some reason, I had it in my fiction section, so I need to check my facts. This is romance, magic, and enemies to benefits. Okay, so maybe not enemies to lovers. Maybe that's why it's a fiction, because it doesn't end in a happily ever after. HEA, is that what they say in Jane the Virgin? I'm going to have to find that clip. Anyways, let's get reading. We're going to do a quick check-in. I started earlier, Do Your Worst by Rosie, Danan. I started this at work, and I just got done with the dentist, so I'm kind of a mess. Please forgive me, but no cavities. When? Okay, you don't care. Do Your Worst. This is about Riley Rhodes, who is a curse breaker. So she started to learn this from her grandma. Her grandma passed away when she was younger, though, so there's a lot of history around that. This guy's name is Clark Edgeworth. He is an archaeologist. So she's in Scotland. She's trying to make her ability to break curses into like a career that she can monetize and like live off of. So she's there. She's in this bar. She's trying to like learn more about the curse because she's got to figure out how she's going to break it. And then she sees this guy walk into the barn and finds out he's an archaeologist. And she's like, great, I can learn something from this guy. So she goes and meets him. And, you know, there's an instant attraction on both sides. Kind of a night. Then she goes the next day, she's going to the castle for her first day to break the curse. And he's there like trash talking her and like, why would you hire her? She's a fraud. I wouldn't have a problem with that, but like she gave him his business card. She gave him her business card. So he knew who she was and there's this like attraction. So I think I would have been better set up with this enemies to lovers if like he didn't know who she was, then came and was like, oh crap, but like she knows how he feels, but maybe it wasn't so personal. It just feels a little too personal. But we'll see how it goes. So far, so good. Yeah, so let's read, get you updated on how it's going. This is definitely more, to me, romance than fiction. For some reason, I had it logged as fiction, so we'll have to move this on the bookshelf. Let's talk about it. So to recap, Do Your Worst by Rosie Danan. This is a romance, definitely there. It's got the smut, that doesn't do it wrong. Love the fact that there's magic and romance. That's about all it's got going for it. These characters are awful. I wouldn't have such an issue if, let's say, when he's trying to get her fired, the very first day of her job, he didn't know who she was and had this extreme attraction, and they didn't just gloss over it. Maybe not gloss over it, but like forgives way too easy. I probably wouldn't have such a problem, but he knew who she was. He knew he had this attraction. They were just kind of awful and did really mean things just for the sake of being mean and being like, well, it's because of the curse, or I'm doing it to break the curse. And then also the doing it to break the curse was a little weird. And like the plot and storyline were there, but the execution failed short for me. And I really disliked these characters, how they treated each other, just who they were as like a general premise. So I'm going to go with this is a hex. No. Now let's move on to the next book. The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monika Kim. This is a horror, definitely gonna have some body horror. There's talk of walking through rooms with bloody eyes, or they had an extramarital affair. Now her mom's falling apart, she's falling apart, she's got a boyfriend who's maybe not the best, and yeah, so that's kind of a synopsis, and that's still not 100% sure what it's about, but I will keep you updated as we go along. The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monika Kim. Forgive me, my microphone died. Hopefully the volume is not too terrible, but let's get into this book. So there's Ji-won and Ji-hoon. This is from Ji-won's point of view. Their appa had an affair on their oma, which is their mom and dad. Their dad has left, and now her mom is starting to date this man named George. So Ji-won recently graduated and has started college. So she's in her first semester of college. She's made 2 different friends. One is a female, one is male. A little bit of the backstory about how she didn't get into Berkeley. She sabotaged her friends. She lost touch with her high school friends. It's all about fish eyes. So they will eat fish, and apparently if you eat the fish eye, it is good luck. Their mom has been eating the fish eyes every night. Daughters never eat the fish eyes. They think it's disgusting. It's weird. But one night, Ji-won decides she's going to do it to make her mom happy. So she eats the eye. Then she meets her mom's new boyfriend, George, notices he has these most blue eyes. And she realizes she's having these dreams about eyes and eat these eyes to get out of it, and realizing that she loves the texture and the flavor of these eyes. Finds herself like in the daytime thinking about George's eyes and how blue eyes would probably taste better than brown eyes, and what's the texture of them, how firm are they. George is kind of a terrible person, and she's thinking more about killing him and eating his eyes and eating other people's eyes. And we're just starting to, she got off the bus and somebody's following her. So I think we're getting to the point probably where reality is going to get muddled with maybe some of the things in her head. So this is again a horror that's for me. It's not overly like body horror. She does talk a few times pretty graphically about eating eyes in like a very food eating way, not necessarily in like a bloody way. I have a feeling that's going to change. But yes, I'm liking the writing style. I'm liking the slow undercurrent. The author's doing a really good job of building those feelings into the story and not being loud and in your face. So really enjoying this writing style. It's very slow, atmospheric, my kind of things. So far, so good. And a really quick read, like it's flying by. So I will keep you updated as we go along. Bye. Nope. This is a nope for me. We're going to quickly jump in and do a touch up on our 25 in 2025. We finished The Eyes of the Best Part by Monika Kim. Absolutely love this. This was a slow build to creep. There was the perfect amount of body horror where it starts to get you, but she pulls away at just the right time so it's not overdone. The ending you don't see coming. I think it was done really well. The characters are really well rounded. You really feel for all of them. I like that her mother was very classic in, I don't want to say a weak woman, but kind of the men were her everything and she really wanted to care for them. But explain some of her past and her history of some of the reasons that may give light to why her mother may choose those. And I think that that was a really good way to add more depth to Juan's mom. I think this is great. I think the story of the extreme sexualization of women, especially of Asian women, is really discussed in this. It's very subtle, but it does build. It's very poignant. Like you see and you clearly get the message. You see how they want to be strong women and they are strong women. So I think this was a fantastic book. Definitely recommend it. We're going to now talk about the last book in this vlog, which is going to be The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic by Breanne and Randall. I think this one will be a little bit lighter than The Eyes Are the Best Part, but I still think it'll be a good one. This is following Sadie, who believes she has to have 4 heartbreaks before she can fall in love. However, her grandmother ends up very sick. She only has a few weeks to live, and Sadie's first true love is back, also her estranged brother. Her estranged brother is telling Sadie some stuff that's really kind of blowing up Sadie's life, making things confused. Sadie's trying to figure out how am I going to carry on without her grandmother. So this is going to be fantasy with heartbreak and magic, and I think it's going to be fantastic. We'll continue reading this. I'm going to film a couple of videos, my June TBR and my my July TBR, and my June reading wrap up. If you haven't seen those and this is already out, you need to go back and watch those. Trying to be the YouTuber and be like, go like, subscribe, do all that stuff. We'll see you shortly. The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic by Breanne and Randall. We started this. They don't call themselves witches, which I find interesting. However, they do magic. Lady Revelar, she owns a tea, coffee, bakery shop called A Peach in Time, which I think is a really cute name. In the beginning, it's giving this very whimsical, very just small dash of magic and whimsy, and I'm really enjoying that. However, the stories going on, it's definitely getting darker. There's getting more of an undercurrent, which I like. You're losing a little bit of that like classic feel-good magic, but I'm okay with that. Sadie is doing this tea shop, and it's opening up with she keeps seeing these bad omens. She knows that with 7 bad omens, something bad happens, and she sees all these omens, and then her ex shows up, and she's like, it's happening. Something's going on. She also knows that there is a curse. Her brother's left. We don't really know why yet. He's really holding that against her. Her mother's gone. All she really has is her grandmother, Gigi, and she finds out that she's got cancer. She doesn't have a long time to live. Now that her brother's there, her grandmother is giving... When I read the back of this, I felt like her brother was going to break the news, but it's just... Now that he's back, her grandmother's kind of giving more story, more details. I'm not going to say what that is because that would spoil the book, but this is kind of where the darker side comes in. But they've always grown up knowing that the Revelar family has curses on all of them. You're kind of cursed if you want to keep your magic. And Sadie has such a love for her magic and her connection with the earth. She grows stuff. And when she finds out that her grandmother is dying, she's convinced then that she can use her magic and her spices and her plants, and she can bring a concoction that's going to save her. So we're following that journey. I enjoyed the beginning whimsy of magic in the beginning. I'm enjoying the fact that this is getting a little bit deeper, a little bit not so lighthearted, a little bit of a darker story behind it. I like that they discuss mental health from different stuff, as since her brother says his magic takes him to really dark, depressive places, and they support getting help, or her best friend has some mental health issues and getting right medication and stuff. So I like that they sprinkle that in and they do it in a very authentic way, that it doesn't feel like they're just trying to throw it out there to fix it. It feels very within the realm of the story. It fits in well. So I think that that's really well done. Sadie does annoy me. Sadie's the main character, but Sadie annoys me a little bit. And just occasionally, it's just like, just occasionally there's something that just kind of rubs me the wrong way. I haven't figured out what it is or why. Like, I can't pinpoint anything because I wouldn't say I dislike her as a character. There's just a couple of times that something just doesn't sit right with me, but I think that's a very subjective thing. And yeah, my favorite, before I even forget, my favorite part about this is, so they have like recipes in it. And so there's like multiple of them throughout the book. And so far, when they've put in the recipes, it ties somehow to the chapter that they were brought into. I think what would be really fun. I saw Books and Lala do something like this once, where I think she read like Arsenic and Adobo. She would make something from that book. So I just think that would be fun to, since it's got it in there, to make something out of the recipes. I might make more than one thing. There's a few things in here that I'm not interested in making, but like the carrot cheesecake cookies with cream cheese frosting, I'd be willing to try that. This orange balsamic marinade, I think that would be a really good one to try. There's a fried chicken recipe in here I'd really like to try. There is, yes, the salted cream cold foam cold brew with Earl Grey. I love me a good coffee. I usually like my coffee warm and black and bitter. But I'd be willing to try that. So anyways, I just think that this would be really fun to add in some recipes to. So I think we should do that. And yeah, I'm enjoying this so far. It's not like an out of this world great, but I am enjoying this like very even 3 for me. And I'm curious to see where it goes. I'll keep you updated. The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic by Breanne Randall. We have officially finished this, thankfully. I mentioned that the main character, Sadie, was just something about her was bugging me. I wasn't really enjoying her. And as the story went on, that got worse. And I just really did not like her. She was a martyr just to be a martyr. For instance, she would make herself feel like this is all dependent on me. I have to sacrifice and do all this stuff in situations when people weren't asking her to be. There was also these discussions of like getting help for mental health, like getting therapy to like deal with stuff. But then when people are talking about like needing things, like if people's what they wanted didn't fit what she wanted from them, it seemed like she didn't appreciate that, or she held that against him and just like took on, it's like she took on the weight of everyone's world and problems just herself, and everybody else was not putting that on her. They were trying to help her, and I just felt like she made her life difficult and just made everything really dramatic, over the top. So he steals Jake's dog, and he knows she has his dog, and then he just lets it go. And that's not like explained in any way that makes sense to me. If somebody went and stole my dog, I am fighting for that dog. And he's just like, yeah, you can have it. Like, he doesn't say that, but he like just like asks her occasionally, like, how's the dog? Excuse me? And then the fact that like she's the one who, spoiler moment. So spoiler countdown. Let's go. Spoiler moment. The fact that her world and everything that she dreams of is being magical. Her brother doesn't want the magic, and yet she's the one who has to sacrifice her magic, which means so much to her, so that this man can have magic who doesn't want the magic. It just, there's a lot of things that really kind of started to tick me off. And the more I talk about them, the more I think about them, the more that they tick me off. So I'm going to go with this as a hex. I had a lot of high hopes for it, but frankly, the main character just annoyed me, and her inability to just, like, she wanted to take accountability for everything that wasn't hers, but she couldn't take accountability for her own stuff. And that ticks me off. And now that I'm done, I will say that this is a hex. And that is also going to conclude this round of 25 in 2025. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later. Bye, witches.